$100. That's it. That's what we're talking about today. Not 1,000, not 5,000, not some number that requires a second job or a windfall or a lucky break. $100 a month. The price of a couple of dinners out, a streaming service you forgot you were paying for, a few impulse purchases that felt insignificant in the moment. And most people hear that number and think, that's not enough to matter. That's not going to move the needle. That's basically nothing. And that right there is the most expensive mistake most people make with money. My name is Erica, and I spend way too much time thinking about why small financial decisions compound into enormous outcomes that most people never see coming. If you want to understand what $100 a month actually does over time, not the vague inspirational version, but the real math, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it ends up helping you. Here's the thing about $100 a month. It feels small because we think about money linearly. You put in $100, you get out something close to $100. Maybe a little more if you're in a savings account. That's how our brains process it, because that's how most of our financial experience works. You spend $100, you get $100 worth of stuff. Simple, direct, proportional. But investing doesn't work that way. Investing works exponentially, and the human brain is genuinely terrible at understanding exponential growth. We can feel it intellectually, but we can't feel it emotionally until we see the actual numbers laid out in front of us. So, let's lay out the actual numbers. If you invest $100 every single month starting today and you earn the historical stock market average of roughly 8% per year, here is what happens. After 5 years, you've invested $6,000 of your own money, but your account balance isn't $6,000. It's approximately $7,400. The market added $1,400 that you didn't work for, didn't earn through your job, didn't sacrifice anything for. It just appeared because your money was working while you weren't. After 10 years, you've put in $12,000. Your balance is approximately $18,300. The market has now added more than $6,000. You're getting more from growth than you're putting in annually. That ratio is starting to shift. After 20 years, you've invested $24,000 of your own money. Your balance is approximately $59,000. You put in $24,000 and you walked away with $59,000. The market generated over $35,000 that you never had to earn. That's more than 3 times your total contributions just appearing through the power of time and compounding. After 40 years, and this is where people's jaws drop, you've invested $48,000 of your own money over 4 decades. Your balance is approximately $349,000. You contributed $48,000 and you have $349,000. The market created over $300,000 from $100 a month. That is not a typo. That is not a trick. That is compound interest working exactly as it's supposed to over exactly the kind of time frame most people never give it. But here's what makes this really hit different. That $300,000 the market generated for you, it didn't come from some secret investment strategy. It didn't come from picking the right stocks or timing the market or finding a financial genius to manage your money. It came from doing the same boring thing every single month for a long time. $100, same index fund, same automatic transfer, month after month after month. The strategy is almost embarrassingly simple. The discipline is where most people fall apart. Now let's talk about what most people actually do instead, because understanding what $100 a month builds is only half the story. The other half is understanding what stops people from doing it. The first thing that stops people is the feeling that it's not enough. $100 feels like a rounding error when you're looking at someone with $1 million portfolio, but that millionaire's portfolio probably started with a rounding error too. The amount is never the point at the beginning. The habit is the point. The habit of consistently moving money from spending to investing every single month, regardless of what the market is doing, regardless of how the economy feels, regardless of whether you got a raise or took a pay cut, that habit is worth more than the $100 because the habit scales. When you make more money, the habit is already there. You just put more in. The second thing that stops people is the fear of losing money, and this is real. Markets go down, sometimes dramatically. In 2008, the stock market dropped nearly 50%. In 2020, it dropped 34% in about 5 weeks. If you had been investing $100 a month and watched your balance cut in half, it would have felt genuinely awful. But here's what actually happened to people who kept investing through both of those crashes. They got to buy shares at a massive discount during the downturn, and when the market recovered, and it has always recovered, they didn't just get their money back. They got their money back plus the returns on all those discounted shares they bought while everyone else was panicking. The people who stopped investing during the crash locked in their losses. The people who kept going got rich. The third thing that stops people is waiting for the right time. Waiting until they have more money, waiting until they pay off their car, waiting until things settle down, waiting until the market looks less scary. And the math on waiting is brutal, truly brutal. Let me show you exactly how brutal. If you start investing $100 every month at age 25 and you stop at age 35, just 10 years of investing, then nothing for 30 more years, you end up with approximately $168,000 at age 65. You invested $12,000 total. If your friend waits until 35 to start investing and invests $100 every month all the way until age 65, 30 years of consistent investing, 3 times as long as you, they end up with approximately $150,000. They invested $36,000 total. Read that again. You invested 10 years, stopped for 30, and you still ended up with more money than someone who invested for 30 straight years, because you started 10 years earlier. That 10-year head start is worth more than 30 years of catching up. This is the concept most financial advisors call the cost of waiting, and it is the single most devastating financial mistake most people make. Not investing badly, not picking wrong stocks, simply waiting. The fourth thing that stops people is not knowing where to put the money. And honestly, this is the easiest problem to solve. You don't need a financial advisor, you don't need to understand individual stocks, you don't need to analyze earnings reports or follow market news. You need one thing: a low-cost index fund, specifically something that tracks the total U.S. stock market or the S&P 500. Funds like these have returned roughly 8 to 10% annually over long periods. You buy a little every month, you don't touch it, you let time do the work. That's the entire strategy. The people managing billion-dollar hedge funds with teams of analysts and proprietary algorithms have historically underperformed this exact boring approach. Now let's talk about what $100 a month looks like if you optimize even slightly, because most people can find a little more than $100 if they actually look. If you invest $200 a month instead of $100, every number we talked about roughly doubles. After 40 years at 8%, you're looking at approximately $698,000, not from a salary increase, not from a lucky break, from an extra $100 a month. The cost of a gym membership you actually use, a few less takeout orders, one fewer subscription. If you invest $300 a month, still a number most people earning a modest income can access if they make it a priority, you're looking at over $1 million after 40 years. $1 million from $300 a month. No inheritance, no windfall, no secret, just consistency and time. Here's the last thing I want to leave you with, because I think it reframes the entire conversation. Most people treat investing like it's something they'll do later, when they have more money, when things are more stable, when they finally feel ready. But investing $100 a month isn't really about building wealth. It's about buying your future self options. Every $100 you invest is a dollar your future self doesn't have to earn. It's a dollar that's out there right now working a second job on your behalf, growing, compounding, building something quietly in the background while you live your life. The question isn't whether $100 is enough, it's whether you'll start, because the math works whether you believe in it or not. The only variable is time, and every month you wait is a month you can't get back. Start with $100. Start today. Your future self is sitting 40 years from now either thanking you or wishing you had. If this video made the math click for you, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and drop a comment below telling me how much you're currently investing every month. I read every single one.